It's Mr. Flato here, D. Helena Middle School. On today's Bob lesson, going to talk about disrespect and why sometimes people are disrespectful. I think if you ask the average person if they have an encounter with another person, the first thing that happens is they feel probably a certain kind of way. They feel sad, they feel disrespected, they feel depressed, they feel anger, they feel name that negative emotion. And I guess my goal on today's Bob lesson is kind of two-part. Number one, recognize when something is going on with us instead of being disrespectful to other people. Recognize how we can handle that in an appropriate manner. Appropriate self-care, appropriate coping strategies, I guess you would call it. So that we don't take our stuff, take our anger, take whatever's going on with us and throw it onto somebody else, because that never ends up in a good situation for you or for the other person. And secondly, maybe most importantly, when somebody is disrespectful to you or you do experience disrespect from somebody else, instead of taking it personal and personalizing it, as we call it in the counseling world, and thinking, what did I do? Or feeling like you have to own that from somebody else, you can sit back and really process on your own. I wonder why they're doing this. I wonder if they're having a bad day. I wonder if there's something going on with them. 9 times out of 10, when somebody else is disrespectful to us, it's probably something going on in their world and really nothing of our own doing as to why we got that spewed on. I had this situation happen just the other day. Somebody pulled out in front of me and was pretty rude to me, and my first inaction was, how dare they do that? But then I stopped and thought, they must be having a bad day, or maybe something negative is going on with them in their world. So buckle in. Hope you guys enjoy this, and let's make it a strong push here up until Christmas or winter break. Make it a great week. We are off and running on our next Bob lesson, which is titled, Why Do People Act Disrespectfully? But first, let's be our best this week at HMS. Let's be Bob. Let's be safe. Let's be responsible. Let's be respectful. Let's be learner. I'm going to start by asking a question. Why are we talking about disrespectful behavior today? We're talking about disrespectful behavior for two primary reasons. When we understand why we are acting disrespectfully towards others and how it doesn't help us in the end, hopefully we can learn replacement alternative behaviors instead of acting disrespectfully towards one another. The second reason is when other people act disrespectfully towards us, we can gain a rational understanding of why they're being disrespectful, which leads to a couple things. Building empathy and understanding for them as a fellow human being gives us an understanding that keeps us from personalizing it. I don't know why. So many times it's a natural human response. Somebody disrespects us, we personalize it. We think, what the heck did I do? When so much of the time we didn't do anything. Because when we personalize it, we give the person disrespecting us what they want, which is the power or the response that they are looking for. Why do people act disrespectfully? Well, the number one reason is projection. The number one reason people act disrespectfully is because they have some sort of fear, worry, frustration, anger that they are sitting on, and they want to put it on somebody else. By projecting this fear or anger or worry or name the negative emotion, they put it onto someone else, usually through verbally disrespecting someone else. If this is you and you have a habit of doing this, instead of projecting your unwanted emotion onto someone else, why not talk to a trusted friend or counselor about what is going on with you? Go exercise, listen to music, journal, walk your dog, have a healthy coping mechanism instead of bullying or disrespecting somebody else. Take actions to correct whatever negative is going on with you in your life, because at the end of the day, we only truly have control over us as human beings, and we can't control other people. Second reason why people act disrespectfully. Many times people act disrespectfully because they either are jealous or envious of you, or they view you as a threat to maybe their social status or their own achievements. By disrespecting you, they attempt to knock you down a notch. Think of it as being in a swimming pool where you and another person cannot touch the bottom and you're treading water, and that other person dunks you down to lift themselves up out of the water. But we know that disrespecting someone else out of jealousy, envy, or because they're a threat does not organically change your status. It just makes you look like a jerk. It makes you look like a bully. In the long term, once you become exposed, people will see the situations for what they really are, and you will earn a reputation. And chances are you will lose respect from other people instead of gaining it.
Why do people act disrespectfully? Reason number 3, some people act disrespectfully because they crave having power over other people. It is a normal desire to have power and control over your circumstances in life. For sure, that's what we all want. And unfortunately, in many circumstances in life, we have no power over. So many conversations I have with students in my office revolve around this, things that they cannot control. The key is we should always ask ourselves, at what cost is having this power and control coming? If it's coming at negative or adverse, that's not good. For some of you that don't know that word, cost to someone else, then we definitely need to refrain. If it's not hurting or harming anyone or anything else, then it's probably acceptable power and control to obtain. So think about it, power and control. If it's not going to hurt somebody else, let's go ahead and try to grab it, control our own circumstances. If it is going to negatively affect somebody else, probably shouldn't be doing it. All right, that brings us to this week's quote of the week, which is, you simply cannot control the actions of others in life. You can, however, control how you choose to process, that's how we think things through, others' actions and how we respond to it. So much of life is not about other people, it's about us, how we process, how we control and handle situations. All right, this week's Jelly Bean Question of the Week winners, Patton Hofert, Alder Shanania, I apologize if I pronunciated that wrong, Deegan Helms, Rylan Cassiano, Hemi Curtis, and Chloe Hoyer. The answer to last week's question was I. E-Y-E-I. All right, this week's Jelly Bean Question of the Week. What word starts with E, ends with E, but only holds one letter? If you think you know the answer, this week's Jelly Bean Question of the Week, submit your answer to the Bob box. I had to bypass a couple correct answers because I couldn't pronunciate or I couldn't read the name or there wasn't a last name on there. Get that into the Bob box by the end of the week. Tune in next week to see if you're a winner. All right, Bobcats, let's make it a great week at the Helena Middle School.